All right, Jim from Let's Get To. We are out here at Werner Park, home of your Omaha Storm Chasers, and it is the 5th birthday of Let's Get To.
Oh, it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Take me out.
Twitchy Dolphin Media presents Let's Get To. It's baseball from sea to shining sea by the team that brings you home. And now, your host, James Christopher.
And welcome to Let's Get To. I'm your host, James Christopher, and we are going to get back out to Werner Park, home of your Omaha Storm Chasers, in just a second, just a flash of some stormy lightning. It's been a lot of fun thinking about where this show has gone from when we first had the idea to do a baseball show to now 5 years later. When we jumped into the idea of covering minor league baseball, I honestly had no idea whether anyone else did what we were about to do. I knew nothing about it. I didn't know whether there would be an appetite for it, whether there would be anybody that actually had any interest in listening or seeing anything that I had to say. I can't remember a time in my life when I've ever been more pleasantly surprised than I was when I learned how robust this community really is. Now, frankly, I tend to be an exuberant optimist and end up being disappointed in the end. This is my lot in life. And this was a very nice change. It was great to see how many different facets of the sport there are and to see how many people welcomed me and our team into this community with open arms. Now, at a subconscious level, I feel like most of the things I've done since the Army have been about trying to build or strengthen community. I did it with my film stuff, I do it with the way I approach my classrooms, and I definitely did it when it came to growing the Let's Get To brand. I've talked a lot on this show about how beautiful I think the game of baseball really is, and this community is one of the best parts of it for me, how close this community really is. Now, if you follow or watch Go Go Astros, you know that I talk a lot about how much I dislike the knee-jerk baseball fans or the baseball fans that are in it just to troll. I don't understand that behavior in the slightest. I think the world is ugly, and I don't think we need to add to the darker side of the human existence. We're doing it ourselves perfectly fine naturally. But what I think is amazing about the minor league baseball community is how willing it has been to support each other and to share without ego. Now, you see it from just about everyone that we've encountered, from Martie Cordaro, who's a guest on our show today, to Paul Caputo and Ed Rivera. Those guys have their own shows, their own agenda, but they came up to help celebrate our 5th birthday. It's really an amazing honor. And then you see it in our collaborators like Andy and Scott, and Andrew and Jess Canaster, and Eric and Jordan and Emily and Gary. All those random different people helping to keep this show going. The way this sport, the way this show has brought us all together is simply beautiful. Now, one of the things I've noticed is I often let what I do or what I'm working on become a key piece or core piece of my identity. And that obviously can be the kind of thing with really dangerous ramifications that me and the therapist will need to talk about. Now, it was easy to wrap myself up in the identity of being a soldier, and I've learned that that's one chunk, one piece that's never actually going to leave me. And then I wore the badge of independent filmmaker proudly. And the more we got known, the better our films got, the more successful they became. The pride I had in that identity and in our filmmaking team kept growing. And one thing that I take a lot of pride in is our show. How we've grown it, how we've invested in the minor league baseball community, and how much love we've gotten in return. The community part, it's not why we started it. Because again, I didn't know it was here. But it turned out to be the best reason for it, and there's so many people to thank. The people in my Let's Get To circle sustain me. I don't know if I'd still be doing the show if I didn't have Andy and Scott and so many others in my corner. Understand that Andy, Tom Chesson, and I talk about the show literally every day. I don't know if I'd still be doing the show if it didn't become this thing that I now get to share with Jordan and Max and then Braxton and Lulu. And it's not just about me being at a ball game with Braxton and Lulu, which is absolutely, by the way, the best time ever. But the real treat, the real joy, is watching my daughter at the ball game with her kids and realizing that I'm getting a second chance to have the same experience with her that I wasn't really able to have in my early days of fatherhood. because we were broke. And I for sure wouldn't be doing the show, and I know you could probably guess who's next, if it weren't for Jessica. It's hard to express the love and tenderness that I feel when I just think of her and then multiply that by 10 when I see her. And she's always game for anything when it comes to this sport and this show. Now understand, sometimes it's not easy to keep it going. And when I'm in my darkest of times, when I wonder if it's worth the time, worth the expense, she's always the one who says it is and then gives me that push that I need to keep it going. Now, our show is different for a lot of reasons. Our attempt to cover the sport at all levels make it a much more difficult show to produce and get across. Look, I do other shows that are simply based on Zoom calls, and let me tell you how much easier those shows are to put together. But as we detailed last season, from breaking the story of what the show is going to be about in a given episode to that episode's final release, it's usually 20 to 30 hours of work, some of which is frustrating, some of which is difficult, but I can honestly say all of it has been rewarding. Now, in those darkest times when I'm thinking to myself that I probably could be doing something more relaxing or, anything else, maybe I could just be actually going to baseball games to watch baseball without thinking about creating content. It's Jessica who reminds me how much faith she has in me, in the show, and what we're doing. She will always be the first, middle, and last person that I think of when I need help keeping this show going. That and my daily conversations with Andy. But I also have to thank all of you who are watching the show and listening to it, because honestly, if we didn't have a listenership or a viewership, I'm smart enough to know that we wouldn't keep doing it. So thank you for all the people who've come along with us on this journey, who've enjoyed my jokes that are often lame and often a miss, and have enjoyed experiencing some of the best and some of the saddest times that this show is covered in the context of baseball. Baseball is simply the greatest game ever invented, and I'm excited to be a small fractional part of it. So again, thank you for coming on this journey. And this week, our journey is taking us to Omaha for the Storm Chasers game, where we get to meet up with our great friend of the show, Martie Cordaro, and celebrate our 5th birthday. So like I said, we got a great show coming for you, so stay with us.
From the bleachers, the Let's Get To Game of the Week.
So, our 5-year birthday party was a great time. Now, last year, after getting a suite in Brooklyn, I wanted to do one for this year's anniversary, and I wanted to do it in a great ballpark, with a great atmosphere, and with a group of people who have always treated us and the show so well. And there were quite a few to choose from, but this year we picked the Omaha Storm Chasers with a chance to see our old friend, Martie Cordaro. We got there, and Drew gave us a great tour around the ballpark. Honestly, he took time out of his day that he really didn't have to give us the tour, and it made our day and really started the entire experience out on the right foot. Now, after the tour and an ill-fated attempt to get into the team still a little early, we headed out for a runza. And that's probably the last runza I'll have. It's fine. Now, the Storm Chasers treated us so well at the game, and the suite was, well, pretty sweet. It made the perfect setting for old friends and new, including some friends who had actually never seen each other IRL, as the kids say. The kids do say that, right? We talked baseball, we talked pitch clock, we talked life. We got some segments done with some people in the same room, which is honestly not nothing. That was pretty cool. We made plans for future trips, get-togethers, appearances on each other's shows. Basically, our community got stronger in the backdrop of one of the coolest, most complete stops in minor league baseball. Baseball is, among many things, about connection for me. I enjoyed every bit of that connection on our trip to Omaha this year. I hope your trips offer some of the same positive vibes that we ended up getting. And if you've been there, go back to Omaha. And if you've not, do yourself a favor and get out to see the Storm Chasers.
On the St. Louis team, we have who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
That's what I want to find out. I want you to tell me the names of the fellas on the St. Louis team.
I'm telling you, who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
Do you know the fellas' names?
Yes.
Well, then who's playing first?
Yes.
I mean, the fellas'
Who's on first? The Let's
The fellow
Get
playing
To
first
Team
base
of the
for St.
Week.
Louis.
And welcome back to Let's Get To. And for the first time in real time, we're with old friend of the show, Martie Cordaro. Can you believe you've been on the show for 5 years?
No, I can't.
Me neither.
Jim, it's great to have you here.
Yeah.
Werner Park, second trip,
Second trip.
but
first 5th anniversary.
First 5th anniversary. Yeah, I wonder how we'll do that. Maybe we should. You know what? If you're gonna have 5th anniversaries, you might as well have 2. All right.
Sure. You know, I'm the guy who always says we should have 2 Star Wars nights.
I agree.
So I'm, you know,
why are we doing Revenge of the 5th?
Well, you know, it was one year we were home. It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was just a 4-game series, homestand, whatever you call it. And we actually did that. We did episode, if I can remember right, we did episode 3, 4, 5, and 6 for the nights. And even for me, the total nerd, it was a little much.
At one point, you're like,
it was a little watered down.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I'll ever try it again. But no, you know, last night.
How was last night?
It was good. It was good. You know,
with Star Wars.
The
It was May
food,
the 5th.
you know, the food we had, as I look on the video board now, we had the Mogurito Tatooine Sunset. We had the hot dog. I mean, we had Star Wars themed everything else. It was good. It was a good night. Weather was a little damp during the day, so it hurt our walk up. But you know what? It was a Star Wars night, first fireworks show of the year, and it was a great night.
I know you had the jersey auction. I bid in one-on-one. But how those nights? How do those turn out for the charity it's going to? I mean, I'm assuming they do pretty well.
Yeah, they do. And, you know, the key there is to make sure we have good corporate sponsorship, corporate support. And what that helps do, that helps underwrite the night, for example, of the jerseys and the expenses. So 100% of the proceeds go to, and last night was Make-A-Wish Foundation, Nebraska's chapter. So, yeah, it's great.
So we're here tonight on Take Me Out to the Ball Game, which
You didn't say that right.
I didn't. How did I say it?
Take me out to the ball game.
I guess you might say I made a catastrophe of this interview.
You did, but wish I had my drums here.
I'm about to say, me too. But y'all, this is the 3rd time you've done it. And I remember the first time you were on right before you did it the first time. You're doing it 3 times in a row. I guess it works. I mean, how's it been?
Well, you know, the first year we did it to say we did it, and we had 9 cats that showed up.
9 lives.
Yes. There you go. You're picking it up. That was in September 21.
Yeah.
We moved it to May of last year, and we had 50-something cats.
Okay.
So will we have 50-something or more? We hope so tonight. I don't know, 30 or so pre-registered. But, you know, it's different. And that was a promotion that came out of, no joke, everybody, or not everyone, people like to complain about whatever. We had cat owners that said, you do dog nights, you know, every homestand or every other homestand. Where's a cat night? And of course, the staff looked at me and was like, we're not having cat night at the ballpark. And I said, yeah, we are, because no one else is doing it. So we're going to do it. And so it's been fun. But yes, you know, you need to see that, you know, that growth each year. So we'll see. We'll see how tonight goes. It is something to talk about. It's funny. Hopefully it's not a catastrophe tonight. But yeah.
Wanted to ask you about Marvel Defenders of the Diamond real quick. I know the process has been different for that identity versus others, but I also I was curious, does it feel like a success for you? Have you seen the merchandise sales keep up with some of your, and like the runs is big for y'all too in your Copa brand?
No, it's not a success for Omaha. You know, a lot of the problem is there's very little creativity from a mark perspective. Hat logo, you know, the primary mark, our it looks like a re-envisioned Vortex versus a new logo. And some of that is because our logo, I wouldn't say it looks Marvel. I don't want to take credit or, you know, give, Brandiose credit for that, but it kind of was in that family. So there wasn't a lot that they could do, but, you know, we're handcuffed, and, you know, whether it's the giveaway items and the cost of the giveaway items, and, you know, the fact, you know, from a sponsorship perspective, you know, that's something that's been held, you know, by enterprises to sell, and we can't sell and get and activate at the club level. It's been challenging. It's been challenging. We're hoping for year 3 that some of that feedback is going back to those that we work with, at MILB and MLB. So 2024, which is the last year of the 3-year deal, will be a little different. But no, it definitely has been a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too. I didn't know how the gear sold. How much flexibility do you guys still have now? Like you guys did Take Me Out. I've been trying to convince any front office manager I can find to have a Jaws night, and I will come and teach about Jaws between the innings or something. But how much flexibility do you have for stuff like that?
Jaws night. Okay, well, my brain is moving. We are slap dab in the center of the country. So I'm curious, has any team done a Jaws night
No,
yet?
I have not come across one.
Was that 77 or
75.
70? Okay, 75. So we're talking about 50 years in a year and a half. Okay, my brain is moving. If any team's going to do it, it's the team that's furthest away from water, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because nobody wants to go
All right.
swimming after that, except for me.
Get back to me in 24.
I
We'll
will
talk about it. But freedom like that, total freedom.
Good.
There are, you have Lucasfilm, you have Marvel, obviously both with Disney, and you have other properties, and there's certain music and licensing. But if you're going to do cat night, dog night, anything that's I guess not risque, if you will, that that's not going to encroach on what's baseball fun, family fun,
Sure.
something that's appropriate. We have pretty much flexibility, and there are some clubs that you won't see a lot of outfield signs. You won't see a lot of on-field promotions. That's not us. You are going to see a lot of signage, and you're going to see fun, engaged promotion. And we're meeting on Monday. Homestand review as well as pop culture. What's going on? Pensacola just did an AI night, the Blue Wahoos, and it was what I read was interesting. And it's just like years ago, the mayor here in Omaha, tongue-in-cheek, said, we're going to institute a 10-cent toilet paper tax per roll. So we quickly, I can't remember who our promotions manager was at the time, but we got together and we called March of Dimes, and we got a couple of toilets. We set them at the gates, and we collected dimes, March of Dimes, and we collected toilet paper. It didn't sell any more tickets, but it was fun.
Yeah.
And that's really at the heart of what minor league baseball is, because they don't ask us when Nick Pratto is ready to go up. They don't ask us. They tell us that Bobby Witt Jr. is not coming back. He's going to be in Kansas City. We don't control that aspect. So we can only control what happens off the field. Only thing on the field is the promotions. And now, with the speed of the game and with the pitch clock, that's even changed as well.
I know we've seen a lot of complaining, and I have mixed emotions about the pitch clock on the major league level. You guys have been dealing with it down here for years. How long do you think it's going to take Major League Baseball fans to sort of adjust to whatever the final pitch clock thing looks like?
Yeah, I don't know, because I think a real Major League Baseball fan is different than a minor league baseball fan, because the majority of fans going to big league games are there for baseball. Yeah. The majority of fans that you'll see here tonight at Werner Park are not here for baseball. We're baseball guys. Yeah. And that hurts, but it's the reality in which we live, and that I've been living since 99. And, I don't know how to answer that. Let's check back after October, when you've had some really important playoff at-bats. Yeah. Either impacted by a ball or a strike, an automatic ball or strike, or the pace of the game is such that it doesn't allow for a natural cat and mouse, step off the rubber, step out of the box, catch your breath, check your batting gloves, whatever it may be. I'm optimistic that won't be vastly different than pick a year where we've had some of those showdowns, if you will. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
I always think about Kirk Gibson's at bat. He would have been out.
Well, think of some of those Yankee Red Sox matchups, from 15, 20 years ago, with the Nomar teams and the Jeter teams and some of the back and forth, and whether it be Rivera on the mound. I mean, we could go back and forth between who the pitcher, Papelbon. We could go back and forth who the pitchers were, but you would have to think that it will be different. Yeah. It's not a question if it will or won't be. It's really how different will it be. But we'll see. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I always think you're a good barometer. I mean, as we get ready to wrap up, actually, I first of all appreciate all the support you give in our show, and I want you to know that your reputation is impeccable. Anytime your name comes up in a conversation on the tour, people think of you as smart, a good person, kind, and I just wanted you to know that's what people see you. So I think that's
my evil twin. No, Jim, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. And likewise, I talked to a number of, operators as well. And we've had some conversation about different clubs. They all do it different.
You're my barometer.
But I've said this behind a screen for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, as you said, and even going back to 50 summers, what you do, is what very few others do to help support and talk about what we do and the plight of minor league baseball. And I think it's important to continue to talk about that, because minor league baseball, but again, we don't really control the baseball. So it's about Jaws Night 2025. It's about, it's about Star Wars Night. It's about Runza Night coming up on June the 3rd.
Yeah.
It's live music out at the Bud Light Downdraft right now. And a number of us, I was on the phone today with a AAA operator from the West, the former league, the Pacific Coast League, our former league.
Yeah, right.
And we were talking about the speed of the game, and they had a massive opening last night. And I told him we had a 2-hour, 14-minute game. And he was like, wow, if we would have had 2-hour and 14-minute game last night, it would have hurt us by tens of thousands of dollars. They had one of their biggest nights they've ever had in their franchise history. And, and you have an hour and 42-minute game in Palm Beach last night, and we had a 2-hour and 11-minute game when we had 5,500 school kids here. They got off the bus, got to their seat, ate their lunch, got back on the bus. Some of them truly did that.
Wow.
I mean, that's not a joke. And, it's changed. So we're having to be a little bit more introspective. How can we be not necessarily smarter, but how can we maybe be a little bit more creative? Do we open the gates early? Do we do things post game? A lot of suggestions I've gotten, and while appreciative, they're things that we're already doing. So I hope fans pay a little bit more attention to the promotions and what we do offer with value. But it's the new world we live in, and it's not changing. It will continue to evolve. But we're not going back to no pitch clock.
Right.
I don't think we're going back to no ABS. I don't think we're going back to the pitchers having their undergarments checked every half inning. It's a new world. I like the bases. I'm an old school 80s baseball guy. So that is one thing that I do like. And I would say, to go on the record, I've learned to live with the pitch clock. I don't call it a shot clock anymore. and I just think there needs to maybe be some give and take, because you have players that are out there developing, and their careers are somewhat being impacted a little bit by being rushed a little bit, and definitely the product in the stands. And trust me, one of our jobs, and we take this serious, is developing a 2023 baseball fan, someone that's 5, 6, or 7 that maybe they didn't grow up in a baseball family, or maybe someone who's 20 that never came to a ballpark before. How can we educate them and create a baseball fan out of them, and do it in a sense where they can enjoy the game as well as enjoy something from concessions, enjoy a promotion. And that's difficult to do in 2 hours and 14 minutes.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're one of the best people to at least try. So thanks so much for everything you're doing for baseball, and thanks for being on Let's Get To.
Yeah. Enjoy tonight.
We cannot wait. Happy 5th birthday.
Yeah.
Holler and a Swaller, a chug of ballpark brew, presented by The Hitter Sports.
All right, it's time for Holler and a Swaller. This is the time on Let's Get To when we talk about what we're drinking, and then we drink it right on camera. We've got James, Jess, Andrew, Scott. James, we'll start with you down the line. What are you drinking?
Why are you doing my job? Sorry.
This is a hostile takeover.
Exactly. But tell everybody who you are first so we get the promotion out of the way.
Hi there. My name is Paul Caputo. I am the host of Baseball by Design, and I am the minor league baseball logo branding contributor for Let's Get To the show.
So I'm drinking the Ale Storm, which is, of course, one of the very cool things they have here is a dedicated branded beer. I've got number 16. And this has been a great, nice, light little brewski.
I think we're all drinking the same thing, but we've got different cans, and that's sort of an interesting part of this story. Yeah. We've got different color. We've got the road grays. There's a white can, and then I know that we've got the alternate blues out there.
Yeah, that's kind of neat.
Yeah. All right, Jess, why don't you tell us what you're drinking?
I'm drinking Ale Storm, number 16. My can is the white jersey, and to your point, each of the jerseys, there's a story on it of what it signifies, when it was worn, the baby blues, the whites, the grays.
Yeah, this was talking about the parent club, the Royals.
And the synergy with the club, and then obviously the synergy with the local beer for the local team, and hence why it's popular.
I hope that the viewer at home, the listener at home, can hear the rally that's going on behind us here. The Storm Chasers are rallying in the bottom of the fifth.
They were down 7-1. It's what, 7-6 now.
Yeah.
Shame they missed the extra point.
Yeah, you know what though? If you can't rely on a good kicker,
I'd also like to know. By the way, I want to know what Jess and Andrew are wearing. Who are you wearing today?
This is a Mayflies 23 edition. Harrisburg Senators. I work for the Harrisburg Senators. We play on an island, so we are surrounded by water. Water in the Midwest and the East Coast in the summertime means mayflies. They are annoying little bugs that will land on you. They're harmless, but they are plentiful, and we embrace them because we have no choice. We have a lot of them. And so we've had mayfly logos in the past, and this is a new Friday night edition hat. There's a jersey that goes along with it, and it's a cool logo set. It's an alternate identity for the team as the Harrisburg Mayflies.
Reminiscent of the erstwhile Savannah Sand Gnats. Absolutely. Andrew, who are you wearing?
first of all,
sorry.
you're a couple beers in.
I'm a couple beers in.
Congrats on erstwhile.
I appreciate that, James.
Well done.
I'm having a great time. And you know why I'm a couple beers in? It's only the top of the 6th inning right now, but there's been so much offense that they're offsetting the pitch clock here. So we've actually had a couple hours of baseball. Everybody drink. I mentioned the pitch clock. Pitch clock stinks. Andrew, who are you wearing?
So I am wearing the Cazadores de Tormentas, I think it is. Let me check the back of my hat.
Oh, boy.
I got it right.
There you go.
Which is the Copa de la Diversión identity of the Omaha Storm Chasers, which is basically Storm Chasers in Spanish.
Okay.
And it's delightful and colorful, and I like the kind of mean guy cowboy hat look on it. So
all right,
I had to pick it up in the team shop.
Tell us about your drink.
I am also drinking the Ale Storm, and I have the powder blue can.
Nice. Best powder blue ever in history. Go.
Oh, it's got to be the Twins.
I think it's the Phillies.
It's the Cardinals.
Montreal Expos.
James had it correct. It was the Phillies. Congratulations, James. Correct.
What do I win?
Scott, let's hear about what you're drinking.
Mike Schmidt's mustache. Oh, no. It's Ale Storm 16. It's the silver can, gray can. So it tells a little story on there too that I can't read because I'm old and I don't have my reading glasses.
All right.
But I'm sure it's very interesting.
Well, we're here in Omaha, Nebraska, home of the AAA Omaha Storm Chasers. That was proving to be a problem just now when we were getting set up to record this shot when we needed AA batteries and we were in a AAA park. That was a problem.
Yeah.
Well, you consulted somebody who works in AA, so
see, there you go.
That's where the batteries came
That's
from.
how we fixed it. Minor league baseball professionals are resourceful. I know that we have some folks who are involved in the film industry here. I want to know about the film Storm Chasers. What kind of film is that? Is it worthy of the nickname for this team?
50 Summers? Are we talking 50s?
No. I'm talking about the Storm Chasers, the action adventure movie from like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Twister?
I don't know that I've
Twisters.
ever.
Sorry, Twisters.
Oh, Twister.
Twister.
Twister. Anything with Bill Paxton in it is worth your time, and then anything with Helen Hunt in it, it's also worth your time.
cow.
There's a cow.
There's Cal.
Yeah.
Another cow.
It also, you know what's sad though, Paul?
We
It also
crave
has Phil-
sustenance.
It also has Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah.
Two of those guys are not with us anymore
That's sad.
at a tragically young age.
And neither one because of a twister. And by the way, just to throw it in there, Davenport Blue Sox. Yes, thank you. Just had to throw that in
That's
because I didn't get
Scott's
asked.
wearing. If the movie Twister were a minor league baseball alternate identity, they would be the Tumbas Vacas. Right?
Gesundheit.
There we go. More cow. More cow.
Yeah.
All right.
We got cows.
This is an absolutely beautiful ballpark. We're having a great time. We're celebrating the 5th anniversary of Let's Get To. What an amazing thing. I'd love to start. I'm going to go the other direction. I'm going to start with Scott. Just your time contributing to this show. What has it meant to you?
Wow, it's really been crazy because time flew, right? If 5 years ago, if somebody would have said, hey, a couple of years from now, you guys are really going to be get up and running, finding your feet, and then a little thing called COVID's going to hit. No, I think to go through the pandemic like we have, I think Jim would agree, the last 3 years have flown. I mean, the first two, it was finding it. The last three have just flown by and watching watching how many people we've talked to from where we started in the first interviews there to where we've gotten to now, it's just been amazing. It's a story of growth, and it's a story of expanding your network and making a lot more friends along the way who like to drink beer with you.
There you go. Andrew.
So I would kind of piggyback on what Scott said. It's friendship and community for me to a large extent. I've found so many people online that love minor league baseball the way I do, and have been fun to get to meet and interact with and go on little adventures across the Midwest and the country with. And it's been a great time.
For me, obviously it's a little bit different. I met James while working in minor league baseball. I still work in minor league baseball, and the perspective that I have is working in what I do in game entertainment. It is the people who come to games and really take whatever it is that they want to take from it that I do my job for. So to see that there is a community built around the fan experience in minor league baseball, and that is what it is my job to really help create within the ballpark that I happen to be working in, is kind of an indication that I may, in small part, be doing something right, because there are people that want to talk about the fan experience, and that's what I like to see.
Absolutely.
So I'm pleased to be a part of it, and also people that like to drink beer. So
I'd like to point out the fact that we have a 22-year-old cameraman who's just like eating wings and stuff. And
That's great.
Well, he's 23
now.
It
was 18 when the show started.
Pitch clock. It's the opposite. It's
math.
It's funny because this thing has grown and it continues to grow, and it's become. I mean, at times it's stressful. At times it's whatever any creative endeavor is, but it really has filled a lot of holes for me in my life. Not really producing movies anymore. It fills that creative thing for me. Finding people who like the same things I do. It's become, I think, really just like, it might be sad to say, but an essential part of my identity, this show. And I feel very lucky to get to do it. I feel lucky that we have the following that makes it worthwhile. Because I think if we had 8 people listening, I don't know that it would just become a Zoom call or something. But, and then we have this whole concept of, the show is going to be on Amazon, hopefully by the end of the summer. So there's just all of this. I feel very, very lucky.
I need to add something in here also. I think a lot of people that watch the show or listen to the show don't see and don't know how much work goes in before this guy arrives to a place, and how much work happens after this guy arrives in a place, and how at one location getting ready for the next. And Jim has done a ton of travel. Jim has done a ton of prep for this show. Jim does a lot, and just the added stress of, okay, well, I'm flying out on a Friday to cover a baseball game on a Saturday. Friday flight systems can kind of get a little crazy. I mean, there's a lot of unknown. Is the weather going to cooperate? What are people going to be like whenever I get to the place? There's a ton of work that there's nobody that can absolutely appreciate all the work that goes into it behind. So this is my opportunity as a producer for this show to look at you and say, dude, yeah, we put a lot of elbow grease into this, and it shows. So yeah, thank you. There, and I'll Cash App or Venmo. I'll accept either one.
Cool. And let me tack onto that, by the way. We're all here thanks to James and this amazing suite that James has rented out to celebrate this 5th anniversary. We got a huge crowd of people here. Many of the folks who we're in this suite with now are folks I've only known through Twitter, and it's been such an amazing opportunity. You all talked about community, right? Such an amazing opportunity to get to know everybody, to meet everyone in person, and to be here in this game. So thanks to you, James, for that. I do want to say cheers to you, but I want to ask one last question just for you, James.
Yeah.
5 years in, we're looking ahead now. Where does the show go from here?
We have a lot of goals. I won't say like if the show kind of stays. How do I put this? So I am someone who's never really satisfied or settled, and that's a great thing at times, and it's also an awful personality trait to have. And you saw it in my film career. I think we were more successful than most for little money, but we were able to outwork things. There are some markers for success that we have. We are going to be drastically changing, doing a temporary for one episode, change of format next year to serve as a pitchable pilot. But I, at the end of the day, too, like if this is exactly how the show is now, I'm content. And I think I'm 47 now, so I know I have more road in the rear view than the windshield. And the fact is being in the car with my wife is my favorite time. Like everything that it's giving to me in my personal life, I'm thankful for it. And I do see the show, I think, being available on more platforms than just the 3 we're on. I would say that.
All right. Well, that's super exciting. I'm honored to be a part of it. I know I speak for everyone here that it's such a thrill for all of us. Cheers to James and Let's Get To, and to all of you and the work that you do. Let's raise an ale storm to Let's Get To. Thank you.
Holler and a swaller, baby.
Holler and a swaller.
And thank you to Paul for guest hosting. Make sure you check him out. We're going to put the link to his Twitter profile in the description of this episode. Make sure you're following and listening along.
Did you know that Tupac's first rap name was MC New York?
And now, on to close it out, the right-hander from Houston, Texas, James Christopher.
So that does wrap up this episode of Let's Get To. And I want to thank Martie Cordaro and the Storm Chasers for having us out. It's been a lot of fun getting to hang out with some people that have been working to make this show what it is, good or bad is up to you, for about the last 5 years. A lot of baseball left to go for us this summer. Our next trip is going to be to Corpus Christi to see the Blue Coast. So remember, get out to your local ballpark, get you some peanuts, get you some Cracker Jack, and in this instance, let's get 5.
Let's Get To is presented by Twitchy Dolphin Media. Creative directors Jessica Bybee-Jedgets. Executive producers James Christopher, Andy Tumcheson, and Scott McIntyre. Produced by Andrew Nelson and Eric Mertens. Associate producers Timothy Jedgets and Jess Canaster. All content created by Let's Get To is the sole property of Twitchy Dolphin Media. All content created by teams covered in the episode are the sole property of the trademark holders.